Ladies and gentlemen, every nation has places that define its identity, places where history, heritage, nature, and national pride come together. India's border regions are among them, long admired for their breathtaking landscapes and extraordinary cultural richness. These destinations are today emerging as powerful engines of tourism, adventure, community development, and strategic growth. Their future lies in balancing access with sustainability, opportunity with responsibility, and tourism with national interest. That is the important conversation that we are bringing to you in our session now. Our distinguished speaker has devoted more than 4 decades to the service of the nation. A decorated military leader and one of India's foremost strategic thinkers, General Anil Chauhan has held some of the country's most significant command appointments, culminating in his role as India's Chief of Defence Staff. His perspective on India's frontier regions is shaped by decades of leadership, of experience, and an unwavering commitment to the nation. I'd like to request you to please be seated. Those of you who are standing, may I request you to please resume your seats. Joining him, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who has spent his life exploring those frontiers that I spoke to you about, but from a different perspective. A Padma Shri Awardee, renowned mountaineer and adventure tourism pioneer, Mr. Ajeet Bajaj has led expeditions across the globe, including to both the North and South Poles and the summit of Mount Everest. As Vice Chairman of FAITH and the President of the Adventure Tour Operators Association of India, and as Chairman of the Conclave, he has been a tireless advocate for unlocking the immense potential of India's adventure and frontier tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General Anil Chauhan and Mr. Ajeet Bajaj.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a huge honor on behalf of the tourism, travel, and hospitality fraternity of the country to accord a warm welcome to General Anil Chauhan, former Chief of Defence Staff and a national hero. May I request all of you to please stand up and give General Chauhan a standing ovation. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. So I'd like to begin by saying that at FAITH, earlier this year, we signed an MOU with the Army Welfare Placement Organization to take on our heroes, our veterans, to join our sector. So I'd also like to begin by sharing a few photographs. Now, in the Great Indian Army, you have the military intelligence. At FAITH, we have the faith intelligence. So these are a few never before seen photographs of General Chauhan. And sir, you know the source of our intelligence. I'm very proud to say this, that my elder brother, Sanjeev Bajaj, General Sanjeev Bajaj, is a batchmate of General Chauhan, and they are from the 58th course of the National Defense Academy. Sir, to set the ball rolling, we are the tourism industry, so would you like to begin by sharing a travel experience with all of us?
You know, 2 days back, I was on a podcast, and one of the questions asked to me was, okay, if you hadn't been an army officer, what else would you have been? So actually, I said that I would have been a tour operator.
Oh, wow.
I like visiting places. I like meeting people. And these two peculiar things are inbuilt in the armed forces. You join the army, you go to see exotic places, unique places, and you go to meet different kind of people, border communities, whom you don't meet naturally in your day-to-day course of life. So in the army, I was actually quite fortunate, I would say. I served for a very long time, the longest time, 45 years in uniform, and of course, that took me, my journey in the army took me to all the borders. Means I was fortunate to travel right from Karakoram Pass till about Lohit and till Kutch. So in my view, all our borders are very, very unique. As we go along, we'll talk about my experience of the borders.
Certainly, sir.
Okay. Or you want me to cover now?
We can do it now.
So I think if you look at the northern borders, they of course run on a number of mountain ranges. It's not Himalayas only, it's Zanskar, Karakoram, Agil, Kailash mountain ranges. But they are, I think, the northern borders are unique because they are an embodiment of divinity. All are religious places if you look, Char Dham, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Yamunotri, Hemkund Sahib, Tawang Monastery, your Rumtek Monastery. Means every kind of spirituality which we are attracted to is there on the northern borders. If you look at our western borders, I think they are a repository of a military history. Firstly, they are unique right from Siachen till Run of Kutch. They present different kind of a terrain. You got high altitude terrain, mountainous areas, valleys, you got plains of Punjab, developed terrain, you got semi-desert, deserts, and then the Run of Kutch. As I said, that's the repository of India's military history because most of our invasions, etc., and the defense of the country was mounted over there. Similarly, if you look at our eastern borders, which again, I was quite fortunate to travel all of those, I think over there it's the human geography which is far more important than the physical geography. So they are a kaleidoscope of, say, various tribes, cultures, religion, languages, and it changes every, maybe district-wise. So there are numerous amounts of tribes. So it's a different kind of an experience. And if you look at our maritime frontiers, then of course they are of a different, they consist of island territories, coastal regions, and they themselves are unique in the sense that most of them haven't been explored as yet fully. So all our borders are unique because of geography, human as well as physical geography, because of the geopolitical setting. Some of the borders are settled borders. Some of the borders are still contested, disputed. So you have a line of control, line of actual control. Maritime borders, you can call them as frontiers still. So we have experience of every kind of border. Every border is unique in India.
Right. So I'd like to say that we have been working with the Indian Armed Forces on unleashing the potential of the tourism potential of some of our border areas. How do you think, sir, we can take it to the next level and unleash it in a very sustainable, responsible manner?
You see, when we talk about the borders, they lie at the extreme end of state sovereignty. And that's why they're probably prone to things like insurgencies, cross-border terrorism, proxy wars, and a whole lot of illegal activities like drug trafficking, human trafficking, espionage, etc. So which affects national security. And one has to be cognizant of that some of our borders are disputed, and hence there could be occasional use of force, military force. So we've seen that all, Pahalgam 2025, we've seen Galwan 2020. Even the Mumbai terror attacks, one would say, were because of gaps in our coastal security or maritime defenses, you could say. On the other hand, there's a need actually to develop tourism. And over here, I think there are three elements which need to be working together. These are, I would say, the tourists themselves, then of course is the hospitality industry, and then the local authorities. As far as the tourists or the citizens of the country are concerned, I think they should be concerned or they should be aware about the security concerns of ours. So obviously there cannot be issues like live streaming of very sensitive posts, photography of sensitive posts, or geotagging of forward areas. That should not be, they should be educated about that. As for the hospitality industry is concerned, you should be thinking about educating your tour operators. They should be trusted tour operators, people who run your guides, or people who run your taxis or homestays, etc. And as far as the local authorities are concerned, that includes civil administration, the armed forces. They should look at promoting tourism in the framework of regulations and control. So I think all three need to work together to develop tourism in the border areas.
So as a country, we feel that there is a need to have a strategy in position to open our border areas for tourism. So how would you advise us to go forward on this?
One thing good, you're asking an army officer about strategy. The word strategy actually it has its origin in war and warfare. And now, of course, it is being used everywhere else. And its Hindi translates actually conveys better. Ranniti. So you're asking about border tourism Ranniti.
Sir.
So actually, I think we should look at this end state should be, when you're looking at borders, they should remain secure and stable. And tourism, obviously, the tourists should remain safe when they're traveling to these areas, and they should enjoy those border areas. So that I think is important. And again over here, if you are looking at this, there would be three stakeholders to develop this kind of a strategy. Because travel to border areas, the security of a border, defense of the nation is a responsibility of the union government.
Sure.
So that falls in the union list. Whereas travel inside a state, going to the border areas, hospitality, etc., that is part of the state. So that is the second part which is important. And third is, of course, the industry itself. So all these things will have to work together to develop a strategy for promoting border tourism.
So if you were to identify three most spectacular, most beautiful border destinations in our country, what would you choose?
So look, I said earlier that most of the borders have traveled to. I think we still haven't opened up all our borders for tourism as yet, because in large number of areas, at least in the middle sector and in Arunachal Pradesh, roads are still being constructed toward the forward areas. So in fact, the road to Gunji and Lipule is just been opened up 3-4 years back. And 4 years back, when there was no road, I think the annual tourists who would go there were only those people who are going on pilgrim to Mount Kailash and or Mansarovar Lake. But today, after the retirement, means 3 days after my retirement, actually I had gone there to see Adi Kailash and Om Parvat. And my God, within 2 months of that place opening up, there are already 40,000 tourists over there. And this has all happened in 2-3 years. Similarly, in this Malari, which is another sector adjoining it, Milam is a place. That again is still being opened up. So these areas have huge potential. Similarly, in Himachal Pradesh, Sangla Valley, you go to Chetkul, that again is an area which is yet to be opened up. Whole area of Arunachal, Manigong, Menchuka. We can reach Menchuka, but the road, the border lies still up ahead. Similarly, in say Toting and other areas, these are there. Similarly, I think in the coastal belt also, there are a number of areas which would be interesting. So, in fact, what's happening is most of our tourist destinations are overcrowded. And it's difficult to find a place. It's very, very difficult. What we need to do is develop new destinations for tourism, and that should be one of the strategies actually. unless we develop a large number of fresh tourist destinations, they all will be overcrowded because we are growing at a fantastic rate of 8% of our GDP growth rate. Now, if that's the growth rate, a lot of Indians will have money sometimes to come, and all would like to travel. And when they travel, obviously this place will get overcrowded unless we create new destinations. So that I think is important.
So we had Mr. Anupam Kher here, and we've seen an example of how Bollywood has literally been a force multiplier in a way of opening some of our areas like Ladakh to tourism, and especially some of our border areas. Do you think that is something we should do, is promote a few films? Like recently there was one on Rezangla and Major Shaitan Singh. Is that something our armed forces would be okay with, sir?
I don't know whether you're aware that Indian Army has opened up 77 destinations as Ranbhumi Darshan.
Yes, sir.
That means all famous battle sites are now open for public, and there are in those 77 locations tour guides, right from Longewala, Kutch, Siachen Base Camp, Galwan, Dokala. All these places have been opened up. This was last year. And they will give you that actual experience. Of course, Bollywood has made films which have promoted tourism and these exotic destinations because wars have been fought over there. That makes it more popular, and but you can actually visit those sites today.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that website is called bharatranbhumidarshan.org, and we'd really like to request all our colleagues from the tourism and travel trade to please promote all of these areas. And one of our national priorities also is that all our border villages, now they are called our first villages. There's been a lot of migration of people from these border villages, and it is today, sir, a national priority to hold them there. So is there anything you'd like to suggest, sir, in terms of economic activity that we can keep our first citizens in our first villages of our country?
Yeah, so I think, as I said, most of our borders are at the locations actually are at the end of our state sovereignty, and hence there less development over there. Lack of opportunities possibly is creating migration of people. But as in when our border infrastructure is improving, roads are moving. In some places in Arunachal, I'm aware there's a reverse migration which is taking place. That means as the roads are moving towards border, there are people who actually want to go back to their villages. So that's also happening. I think that is very, very important. There is one thing which tourism industry is doing is, because of your reaching out to border areas and promoting border tourism. So a lot of people are working in the hospitality industry. They have that homestays. There is a bit of a conflict between you people and us over there.
So
actually in these border villages are young people whom we want to serve in the armed forces, especially in special forces or scout battalion. Now all these young people, as it is the demography over there, the people are very less, and all those people now want to stay at home and run a homestay or run a taxi and join this industry. So there is a bit of a conflict, and I think what we can find some via media over here is by let this, when they are young, they should be actually joining the forces and serve the nation. They're the best soldiers because they're defending their own motherland or their own region actually. And so if we promote this in ex-servicemen form, which you said earlier, this placement agency, you started your conversation with that. If you do that, rather than getting these young people, promoting that, the hospital industry, get the ex-servicemen, once they have served, I think, then it will be a win-win situation for both the sides.
So 2 years back, we did a big national tourism convention in Tawang, and we took a lot of foreigners also to Bumla. Our idea was to very proudly say that these areas are a proud part of our country. And are there areas, sir, that you feel we should open up to foreigners for tourism? That would strategically be okay?
Yeah. I think one of the basic jobs of the armed forces during peacetime is to maintain the legitimacy of our claims. As I said, all the borders, most of the borders are disputed. So how do you maintain the legitimacy of our claims actually? We patrol those areas regularly and be known that we patrol these areas regularly. So that's what the armed forces do. Today we geotag whenever we visit a forward area, whether we meet our adversary or not, so that there is a record of this. Similarly, mountaineering expeditions to some sites which are at the border, which we claim as ours, even promoting tourism, etc. So all this actually helps to maintain the legitimacy of a claim, and hence we must promote these activities, taking into concern the requirements of security from the local formations or the local army units. But otherwise, I see no harm in opening up most of these areas because they are actually our territory.
Absolutely.
And why shouldn't they be opened up for everyone else?
And very well guarded by our men and women in uniform. Sir, would you like to share an instance of humor in uniform with our family here?
Okay. See, this has taken me slightly off guard. I'm not much of a humorous man. Okay, I'll tell you a small incident, may not be related to border tourism.
Sure.
I belong to a Gorkha regiment, and the boys are largely from eastern part of Nepal, Rai Limbus and Tamangs. And in Gorkhas, because most of the boys have the similar kind of a name, everyone would be Ram Bahadur or Dhan Bahadur or Man Bahadur. So we call them by the numbers. 34, 97, 700 pura, something like that. So it becomes easier to identify, and that's a tradition which we follow. I had joined my battalion, and our adjutant used to be Captain Chauhan, and I was with the boys, staying with them, and they were doing this cadre for getting their first promotion. And one of the questions asked over there was, "Adjutant kaun hai?" Write the name of the adjutant. Someone wrote in Hindi, someone in English, but there's one guy who wrote in Arabic numerals, 54. I was quite surprised, how can he write that, 54? He has not understood. Later in the evening I realized what he mentioned was Chauhan. That was Captain Chauhan. So he thought officers are also known by the numbers.
Thank you. So as the former Chief of Defence Staff of our country, would you have a message for our fellow citizens?
So you see, I think we all are at a very important turning point in history. We have a desire or a vision to become a developed nation by 2047. And I think we can fulfill that desire only when 100% of us work together towards realization of that goal. When we say that we're going to be a developed nation, a Viksit Bharat, I think economic capability and military strength are intrinsic to this. So as citizens of the country, we should not do anything which harms this economic interest of the country or the security of the country. These two things are important. That's the message I would like to convey.
Thank you so much, sir. With your permission, sir, may we open the floor for perhaps one or two questions? But if I may request that these should only be related to border tourism. Ravi, why don't you go ahead?
Sir, I'm Ravi Gosai. I am heading Inbound Tour Operators Association. I'm the president of the association, so I'm very happy to hear about border tourism. when we talk about taking foreigners to our border, it will not help, not only help the local economy, but it will also give different perspective of India to the world. And we should remember that there is n number of NRIs who have foreign passports, but they will be happy to visit borders. So I think there should be something, but what I wanted to know is what are the challenges as an army, because army control the borders, what stop army to take foreigners to the visitors?
Yeah, this particular aspect I had addressed, when I said that army would be more than willing to open up its borders, not only for its citizens, but also for outsiders, especially because this legitimizes our claim over those particular areas. It's not only visits, but including adventure tourism to all those peaks. It could be even ecology, even if you want to map, say, a spectacled monkey or, the snow leopards, where are they, or butterflies. We all open for this. Means you could work it out with local army formations, and all these areas are, we are game, means we are part of it.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you so much, sir. I think we've taken up a lot of your time. And Rini has been looking at me saying that we've overshot our time. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, on behalf of the entire nation, may I please request for a standing ovation for General Anil Chauhan and all our men and women in uniform. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
May I request Mr. Puneet Chatwal to please join Mr. Bajaj up as we felicitate General Chauhan. Could move into the center, sir, for a photograph. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, General Chauhan, for those thought-provoking insights. If strategy defines the destination, technology is what will accelerate India's journey towards becoming a global tourism leader. Ladies